Are you there? I see you, but you're frozen. Try coming in again. Poor Denise, she's I had a problem or, oops, let's see. Maybe she'll try again. Some of our channels that we streamed to weren't working, so I got kinda hung up getting those up and running, and let me see. Try again. It just wouldn't be Friday without a little excitement. It just wouldn't be the same. So, friends, happy Friday. Yay! It's Friday. Oh, Denise, it's saying no video feed. Maybe I should let me try calling you.
Hey, Gwen.
Hey, it's saying that there's no video feed.
Yeah, you were black, and I saw you, but you were frozen. And now I see just the spiritual communities. I had a really difficult time getting in.
Should we both?
Um,
Well, I'm at. It looks like it's working on my end. I had to on one of our streaming channels wasn't working. So, do you
I
want to?
see you now, and now I see me, but I'm sideways.
Oh, I'm not seeing you at all.
I see me, and I'm sideways, and I'm on the phone. Oh, but this might be good. We're live, so hey, is this funny, people?
I was saying it just wouldn't be Friday if we weren't having our thing.
Oh
Try
my gosh.
well,
I'll go
try
out and try coming back in.
yeah.
How about that? Oh,
Yep,
now
yep.
I see myself again, and I'm still sideways.
Okay.
What
yeah.
is going on?
Try going completely out and then come back in. All right.
See you soon, people.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens there. So, you know what? It is Mercury retrograde for those who are interested. And sometimes you just have to be patient, take your time, let things kind of move on their own accord. And, and this is no exception. It doesn't help to get frustrated and angry. Sometimes I think it's like a reset button for spirit, for the energy, for the flow of things that it slows us down and everything kind of does a reset, and getting angry and throwing things at it isn't going to make it any better. So just give in. Just give in. Just say, I just need to stop, take a deep breath, focus on what it is I do want, and not the fact that it might be taking twice as long to do it as it normally does. And it does work. It works, it works, it works. So do that. We did. For those that don't know, I'm Gwen Peterson, and I am the founder of Spiritual Communities Network. And for those who are not familiar with it, We offer support for teachers and seekers of spiritual growth. So we have a paid membership of teachers who provide classes and events to you in one kind of location to find it. Denise is one of those. So such members and that's why she's my sidekick on here. Hi, Denise.
Hi, I hope I gave everybody entertainment values. I don't think my iPad is liking Restream today. This is my phone and it went right through.
Okay. Yeah, I did a little talk on, Mercury retrograde just slows things down. Don't get angry. Just let it kind of do it. It's like pushing the reset button. So let things just kind of reset and do what they need to do to work. And, that it
Well,
works,
and,
right?
and I'm up right now. When I saw myself before and you're here and I'm like this, and I'm like, well, that's entertaining in itself, right?
Well, the first time when I first signed in, I had red warning things all over because the some of the streaming platforms, I guess I have to renew my permissions with them frequently, more frequently than I'd like. So I had to do a quick, thing with them to get that up and running. And I think maybe you got caught in the glitch of it all because I could see you in the background while it was trying to do what it was doing. So it might have just kind of.
Well, what cracks me up is sometimes I'll go on and it'll be like, here's your channels, connect. Other times it's like, please add your channels. Try adding them. Then it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just going to join the stream. I'll repost later.
Right. Right. You know what? I hear you on that. And it's funny Friday. So it's funny too, talking about, Mercury retrograde and how things can be weird. Excuse me. I crocheted a blanket. Yeah, he'll get it today. So, uh, and he's probably not listening. Her boyfriend, I crocheted a blanket that's the logo. It's their mascot, the school mascot on the blanket. And so I had done it. And it was quite the little job. But it's done. Misty packed it up. Sunday, we took it over and used the kiosk to ship it out, right? And she bought, priority. They were saying 2 to 3 days. It would be there by his birthday, which was yesterday. And, they have the tracking and it's insured. So we were like, yeah, go with that. It's going to work out perfect. Right. And so on the night before his birthday, which would have been Tuesday night. So Tuesday night, she looks and she says, Mom, it's not tracking anything. It says that they haven't received the box yet. I was like, "What?" I look and sure enough, they're not scanning it, at the locations. And I'm like, "Oh no." So she makes a call to the main drag for, the postal service. And they were like, "Well, we'll launch an investigation, maybe tomorrow morning go in and, tell them what's going on. Maybe they could look around, this and that." And we're like, "Okay." So we get up early, go head over there before Misty has to go to work. And the lady at the we wait in the line, there's always a line, wait in the line, get to the lady at the counter and tell her. So she types in the code and it tells her that it hasn't been scanned anywhere. She's like, oh, yeah, it's not being scanned. Yeah, we told you that it's not being scanned. They told us to come in and she's like, well, go talk to our supervisor. It's that guy over there. So we go over to him and we're like, um, we have a question about, and Misty launches in, about the situation. And he's like, well, talk to the lady at the counter. And we're like, well, she told us to talk to you. And you can see that he is totally put out by this, that he just couldn't be bothered. And we're like, but she told us to talk to you about it. And he's like, do you have the number? So Misty hands him the receipt and he acts all shocked that we have the receipt and stuff. So he goes in the back. He comes out a couple minutes later and he's like, well, it's in Atlanta and it'll be delivered any day soon. It could be today, it could be next week sometime." And we're like, "What?
Give
What do
me my
you mean?"
money back.
Yeah, well, that's a and we're like, "Well, wait a minute, it said it'd be there by Wednesday, Thursday, the latest." No, it was Wednesday, the latest. And he says, "The only thing that's, guaranteed is express." And we're like, "Well, okay, that doesn't answer our question of how come nothing it hasn't been scanned." And I look at him and, lesson, folks, lesson. It's all in the questions, okay? Even when you talk to spirit, it's in the way you ask questions. A lot of times people are like, "I'm not getting any answers." Think about your questions because that can be the thing that could be the deal breaker. So,
Right,
I said to him, "How do you know it's in Atlanta?" And he said because I'm like, he probably punched the numbers in just like we did.
right,
I don't think he called Atlanta and found it. He
right.
wasn't on the phone that long. So I said, "How do you know it's in Atlanta?" And he's like, "Well, I don't." And I said
Which post office was this? Because I wanna make sure I don't go to that branch.
one on Goodlet. And I said, he says, he goes, "Well, I don't know it's there." And I said, "Well, then why'd you tell us it was there?" I said, "You outright lied to us saying it was there when it wasn't there." I said, "Why didn't you just say you don't know?" He goes, "Well, I can't just tell you I don't know." I said, "Yeah, you can." Because the question was, "Where's our package?" You
Right.
told us it's in Atlanta. And he's like, I said, "So," and you said it's in Atlanta. I said, I ask you, "How do you know?" You say, "You don't know." He's like, "Well, that's where it's going."
How do you know that?
And I just stood there. I'm like, I can't believe the words coming out of this man's mouth. He should be a politician.
What's his name? Let's see if he's running.
Yeah, right? I just, like, looked at him, Misty's like, "Well, I want a refund." And he's like, "Well, you can't get a refund, but you can claim your insurance." She's like, "Well, when do I get to do that?" He goes, "After 30 days." And Misty's she's like, "Er." So I was laughing at that. I was not okay, there was a bunch of emotions. One was it was a little cringeworthy to think that I might have to make this blanket again.
How much cringeworthy?
Pretty about 50-50. On a score of 1 to 10, it was about a 5. It was a little I mean, I would do it,
Well,
and
you have the pattern down by heart now.
I told Misty it probably will turn out even better if I had to do it again. But did I
Right.
wanna spend another, like, under the gun? Because Misty'd be like, "Hurry, hurry." It took me a couple weeks to do that thing, you know? And I was like, "Crap." So I was a little cringeworthy on it. And then, I went ahead and I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Shoot. Well, let's do what you always teach, right? Focus on the outcome. What's the outcome? What is it that you want?" I said that this little booger gets delivered. If not today, tomorrow. It gets delivered today or tomorrow. And Misty is pretty much in tears because, she was really shooting for this thing to be at his place on his birthday, because he's away from home. He's
Right, that's what I was
buying
gonna say.
stuff,
Right, right.
so she was a little crushed by it. So I said, let's just focus on that it's going to show up because that's where it was going and that it'll be there tomorrow, today or tomorrow. So she's like, okay. I said, just stay focused. So this morning, nothing yesterday, but this morning, Misty went on and she's like, hey, check it out. Atlanta scans. because,
So he did do his job in the end. He
somebody in Atlanta did their job.
well, I
Because
mean, yeah,
this guy, we said to him, I said, "Well, when we put it in the box, don't you guys scan that stuff? Scan it in. We've
right.
received it." He's like, "Oh, no, no." And we were like, we knew the place. We're like, "Well, we know you're closed Sunday and Labor Day." So we knew that it wasn't going to leave before Monday. He's like, "No, no, no. We were working Sunday." He goes, "It's just everything that goes in. Here's some education on the Postal Service, you guys. All the stuff that went in through that parcel box goes into a big bin, and then they take that bin and they roll it onto a truck."
So never take parcels that you actually
That's what
want
he
to be
claims.
scanned.
Right, that's what he claims. He claims that they do not scan it.
So stand in line.
So, yeah, I guess here's a little glitch we found is that, um because it said it hadn't been scanned, when we walked back in, Misty says, "Hey, that machine's got a scanner on it." But the thing was is when Misty bought the ticket, you put the dimensions on, it had said it was too big for the box and that we would have to get it scanned at the counter. So I guess what it does is if you buy it at the kiosk, it tells you to scan it at the I've never had it ever say scan it at the kiosk. But I don't know if it's a new thing or not. But because and I'm thinking that's why it didn't have us scan it there. But the thing is it did fit in the box. It did fit in the box. It went in. So this guy claims they don't scan anything when it comes in. That
That's wild.
Yeah, so they just take that thing and they wheel it onto a truck. And it's like, and then where'd it go? He goes, "Well, it either went to Fort Myers or Ybor." I'm like, "You don't
Or
know where
where?
Ybor? You've never heard YBOR, Ybor? You've never heard of Ybor? Ybor is up like by Lake Okeechobee.
Okay.
Don't Well, you weren't living here then. Back like 10, 20 years ago, there was on the news, they said the Ybor post office is on fire. And everybody's like, "Okay, Ybor." you know, but then they announced that it's a major processing center. Ybor is like the one of the processing centers for Florida, and that was on fire.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it was like, "Oh, did I have anything coming to the mail?" So anyway, so it was either going through Fort Myers or Ybor, but he couldn't tell you which.
Did did
And I said,
um
"Well, wouldn't
did it
they
get there
scan it?"
today? Did it get there?
No, well, we don't know yet. It was
Oh,
out
because it's
for
Friday,
delivery. It's out for
right?
delivery. It's out for delivery.
Out for delivery.
So,
Speaking of
if it's
crocheting,
Ybor or Fort Myers, neither one of them scanned it either,
right, right.
but now
Nobody,
it's out for
yeah,
delivery.
there
Atlanta
you
did
go.
Atlanta did their job. They scanned it, and it's out for delivery, and so Benny, he's gonna get his gift today.
Yay.
But you were gonna say crochet what?
Speaking of crochet, I had somebody that I know post a picture of a heirloom crocheted dress or something,
Mhm.
but it needed repair. I
Ooh.
wondered if you do that kind of thing. It was a specific pattern, white and blue. I don't know if it matches the threads or I don't know anything about it. So just
Right, right. You know,
or you
sometimes
have a circle that might
I
know.
don't. I don't.
Okay, because I thought you had a crochet circle.
We got a crochet group, yeah, and we've had people bring repairs in before, and, like, if it's a simple thing like hat or gloves or something like that, I can usually do it.
Yeah.
We had somebody bring in a something similar. It was a heirloom tablecloth that it was so sad. She brings it in, because we were at the time, we were meeting at, Panera. So she brought it in, and she'd used it for a dinner engagement, and somebody spilt red wine on it,
Of course they did.
and so she couldn't get the stains out, so she took it to a dry cleaner to see if they could remove the stains. they ended up using some really caustic kind of cleaner that disintegrated
Ate the
threads.
fabric.
It just ate the threads up. And
Mm.
so there was big whole pieces that were just eaten up and other pieces that were starting to deteriorate. She's like, "Can you fix it?" And I was just like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "My heart goes out to you." I said, "I don't think I could do justice to that." But, there are people that do. She'll have to do a search. They need to search it out. This person, and she never shared who. I don't know who she is, and she never shared who the person was, but she did find somebody. She
Okay.
did locate somebody who did a reasonable job at repairing the work.
I just thought I'd ask because I know that,
Yeah, that's a good
I knew you were
question.
making that, and I've seen your other work, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I've done lace work, and I'm sure that dress is lace work,
Yeah, it
and
was lace work, yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
and
I'm astute enough to figure that part out.
yeah, I mean, I've seen it with other kinds of I've seen dresses made out of other kinds of yarn, but usually, that kind of thing would be
Do
lace,
they
and
call that tatting?
no.
No, what is tatting?
I there was a time I wanted to learn how to tat because I thought it was like the next progression in my crochet tool belt. And it's where you're using really thin thread, like lace thread, like that dress, and you put it on a bobbin. And it's a blend of. Have you ever macrameed?
Oh my, not since I was in Girl Scouts.
But you've done it. And you
Yes.
know how macrame, it's a bunch of, like, half
No.
stitches and
Right,
square knots. It's a bunch of knotting.
right.
Okay, imagine doing that with thread.
Okay.
And, if your brain almost went sideways and wanted to
Did you
crack
see
open.
my eyes glaze over? You did. I knew you did.
Yeah, I tried to learn how to tat because I had macrame before. I've done macrame.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I made like the planter, the holds the pot for my when I had those baby breath that hang from your
Oh,
window.
yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, that was all because it would climb up it and then it would cascade down and it was always so
Aw.
beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. Yeah, yeah, so that's tatting. Tatting is like macrame with thread, and
Yeah.
it's really not an easy thing.
I'm wondering what happened to that. I think I must have left it in some apartment in college moving, you know what I mean? Of like to that. Who I can call to get that back after 40 years.
Right, right. Yeah, so
This is my macrame.
I've been seeing, it kinda has come back a little bit, and I've been seeing some different, companies that do kits, and they have really cute kits, like, there's an American flag one you can do where, the stars and stripes, and it hangs vertically.
I had a
Really
friend
cool.
that would do it was a niche type thing. She would macrame owls, owl hangings.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, that's always was a big one too, but she apparently there is a large amount of the populace that loves owl hangings because she did
Yep.
really well with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did. I remember doing an owl when I was younger and the plant hangers. There's, I've got a book for doing purses. One of these days, I might macrame a purse.
Ooh, yes. I had macrame purses when I was and crochet purses when they had the little flowers that popped out
Yeah.
um and I had one that not only it was a basic color, but then it had snap-on, like so you could change out the flowers, the crochet
Oh,
flowers, so you could match your
how
outfit.
cool is that? That's so
I didn't
70s.
make it. I
That's
had it.
that's so 70s.
It went perfect with my crushed velvet orange bell-bottom hip huggers.
Of course you did. With white platform shoes? Or did you wear the candies?
Oh, candies all the way.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
too. I wore my
White
candies
platform
too.
shoes that
You know, they still have candies is still around.
I've not seen it recently.
I think I did a search one time, and they do, obviously don't make the same shoe they used to, although it'd still be it was an iconic shoe,
It
kinda like
was.
Earth shoes. Earth
I
shoes
was
were
just going
another
to
one.
talk about earth shoes. You took the words right out of my brain. I had them. They were actually
Mm,
comfortable,
I
ugliest shoes
love
ever,
oh,
but
I
I
thought they were
loved them.
cute. Really? I thought they were the
Oh,
cutest thing
everybody
shoes.
made fun of my earth shoes, but I couldn't pass them up, man. I was like, these are great because you,
Oh, they were
well,
comfortable.
that's like I had, have you ever heard of Z Coil?
Mm-mm.
I'll just send you a picture. They are actual, I got the sandals, but they make work shoes and nursing shoes, but they have an actual like a spring like you would
Oh,
find in them. And
that
and
sounds
so they're
interesting.
you walk and it's like it just cushions
Oh,
your whole spine.
I don't know, that sounds like I feel
Oh,
like
it was
I'd get motion sickness.
when I herniated my back, it took all the pressure
Oh.
off of the spine. And but I was also teaching preschool at the time, and if I took my sandals off, the kids would try and put them on and hop.
I can see that. Yeah, I had 3 pairs of shoes. I had my candies in white.
Did you have
I had
Dr.
my
Scholl's?
I was just gonna say, I had my Roots, which was the, the earth shoes,
Right.
and then I had my Dr. Scholl's,
Yeah.
my 3 pairs of shoes. I was set for any occasion
No
because
Keds?
no, I didn't have
No sneakers at all?
I did when I was younger, but when I hit, like, I think I wanna say middle school and high school, I didn't have eh, I was doing the, earth shoes because I thought the earth shoes just there was a look with your bell bottoms when you had your blue jeans, and you had your blue jeans kinda dragging on the ground a little bit, and they're kind of yeah, there was a whole
Tattered
look
on the
with yeah,
bottom.
yeah, there was a whole look with it, you know? So, yeah.
Well, maybe that's where you got your love of crocheting, was just those tattered threads around the bottom of your bell bottoms.
No, I hand that over to my grandma when I was real little. She taught me lace work, so
Aw,
yeah.
aw, yay. Does Misty know how to? Or she didn't?
She has an idea. She has no interest in it. She took a knitting class in school or belonged to a knitting group at school, and she did okay with that. And but she is not great dexterity wise. So knitting would be the logical choice for her, and she just doesn't have an
Mhm.
interest. Crochet would be put her into the insane asylum.
I took up knitting, um, when we belonged to a group that, I didn't really
Knitted?
wanna interact
A
with.
group that knitted?
No, no, it was like a school group. And I didn't really it was my escape to get out of conversation. But
I gotcha.
the
No,
hilarious
sorry,
thing
I'm
was it
telling
got
you.
so long because I didn't know how to end it.
Oh, no.
I'm just making this long, wide thing, and that people are like, "Oh, that's so interesting. What are you making?" It went from, "Oh, it's a scarf," to, "Oh, it's a baby blanket. Oh, it's a blanket. Oh, it's gonna be a couch cover."
It's gonna be a rug. I'm gonna just put it on planet Earth. It's gonna be a big old blanket for planet Earth.
That's right. It's green and blue. It was green and blue. Could have done that.
Could have. Yeah.
Did you hear about the new species that they've discovered at the bottom of the ocean in Alaska?
No. What is
Totally new. They don't even know what it is. It's some kind of golden uh, mass, but they say it's biological, and it's at the where I guess new discovery, new form of life,
Yeah,
a
you know what?
golden
They
orb.
they have no idea what's on this planet, they really don't.
Right?
The scientists, they like to make you think that they know it all, and then they don't.
Oh, I think scientists are the ones that are always reaching for the next discovery. It, it's the politicians that tell us they know it all.
Yeah, I don't know, 'cause I guess I've watched too many Discovery Channel. But
Oh,
I've
they
watched
never give you any answers. They always go, and we're going to open the vault,
oh,
or we're going to go down and then it's like,
no.
tune in next week.
Yeah, no, not those kind. The other one where, it's I was watching a show about somebody was talking about how, um, the pyramid I think I told you about this, how the pyramids, the reason they're so perfect, the blocks are so perfect and fit together so perfectly is because they're man-made. And they found out they're man-made because they did core samples on it, and they found, like, human hair in the middle and the different compounds that would indicate that it was man-made. You would think, well, you've got evidence it's man-made, you would think that the scientists, the science community would en or archaeology at least, would it grab onto that and say, "Wow, we need to rewrite," but nope, they were like, "No, no, no, no."
That's interesting. I hadn't seen that study, and we didn't talk about that. I'm going to have to look that up because
And there's my
you,
point.
you,
There's
you
my point.
wonder, okay, you're talking about Egypt, but then are they also going to find the same thing in the pyramids in South America and
Those
Easter
those are
Island
different.
statues?
But
And
those are different. Those are totally different.
so I wonder
Those
if
tend to be
the
like
reason they have it is
pyramid.
what they used to. So that would be very interesting to see what the cohesiveness is and what the is it's like the reason maybe we didn't see all of that is that it's somehow cohesively fused sand. Who knows?
It is.
Crystal, because sand does crystallize. Do you ever see that lightning strikes that they do with the sand and they make these amazing sculptures?
Mhm.
But yeah, I would like to look that up and see what real evidence they have or if that's
Yeah,
somebody's
and there's
yeah,
other
conjectures.
yeah, and then there's other, things where, like, they've been, finding some new bodies, because of the shifting of the planet and the melting of
Right,
the ice.
right,
They're finding more and more bodies, and they've
right.
started carbon dating them. And these bodies go back to, like, thousands of years before they said there were humans, and
Right, right.
even
Now I've
that
seen a
removal
lot of that, and I've
that
seen a lot of people researching that. The thing that I was going to say is we're taking time now. How long did it take before we accepted the fact that we were not the center of the universe as
you're
Earth?
right.
And how many people did we kill for saying that the Earth revolves around the
Yeah,
sun and not
right.
the other way around? Because, you
Yeah,
know,
well, who was the big, astronomer
Galileo.
that was locked up for what, 10, 20 years, or it's like almost
Yeah,
his whole life he was in
right.
prison because he proved it.
Right, right. So, boy, cyclical things, like we're
Or my
coming back
other
to the age of ignorance. I hope not.
my other pet peeve with science is how they always assume that the people from back then were stupid people, that, like, they banged rocks together and grunted. And they're finding out that, these people really had a little bit more going on than we do.
I think that that's kind of like we want to feel like we've made such advancements that we have to make where we came from small.
Right?
And
Right.
I just I think as we if we could have real open discussions without people um, feeling like that's needs to be not so, I guess is the way to put it.
Right?
Because yes, when we realize how expansive we are and how expansive we were, then anything is possible and we won't need to
Right?
keep spinning the hamster wheel of
That's
society.
just like reinventing the wheel.
Right.
It was created 90 million years ago.
Probably maybe they'll find a wheel when, God forbid, as these ice caps are melting, because we we'd like to we we'd like to have a little water in our basements here. No, just
Well, you know, here's the thing that here's another thing on the same topic that we've got going this thread is okay, Spanish Inquisition. Okay, was the big witch hunt at the time, right? And so they totally destroyed and annihilated a whole wealth of information, you know, like everything that has to do with like essential oils and herbs.
oh yes, because
All that
yeah,
all
yeah.
that information was lost and destroyed, and the people who had the knowledge were destroyed, and so we had to, like, start over, so it you know, like, so essential oils to me and herbs, you know, people are kinda like, "Oh, like, this is kind of a new thing." It's like, "No, it's not a new thing. It goes way, way back. It's just that we're having to reinvent the wheel because we kinda rubbed it out of existence there."
I just taught a class on ancient oils of the ancient scriptures and even going back even further into the ancient cultures. And it's amazing at how they knew the properties and how to use them, where we're just scientifically proving it's correct.
I
Yeah,
know, I know. That's like
right. Yeah.
it's I think essential oils and herbs are probably the best example of, you know,
Lost knowledge.
the
Yeah.
whole conversation
Well,
of science thinking it knows so much and it doesn't because it has to reinvent the wheel because the wheel got smushed to pieces.
Well, it is not, I wouldn't necessarily say science. It was the governments in charge at the time, whether whoever was in power at the time,
Sure.
not science itself. Yes, absolutely. But even before that, even before the Spanish Inquisition, um, whatever power came in, they tear everything before it away.
Right,
Because look at
right.
even the ancient temples. They're finding ancient temples and then finding ancient temples under them that got
Oh,
buried
yeah,
and got a
isn't
new
that
story
amazing?
put on.
I love watching those archaeology type programs where
Right.
they're because that is true. So many of the, through the millennia, they just build on top of each other, you know, they would just, you know, for I don't quite understand, but, you know, through the world doing what it does, it would fill things in with dirt, and then they would somebody go, "Hey, well, there's a spot we could build on." And they
Mm.
build right on top of, another you know, some of
I
them are
don't
like
think the earth
3
filled in. I think they came along and buried the stuff so that their story was the story to be told.
well, I think in
Yeah.
some instances it does fill in, you know, because, like, well, think about,
Unless there was an earthquake or a major
well,
tsunami, that
right,
would take
well,
eons and
that
eons of time.
well, not necessarily, case in point, let's go back to Egypt.
Sandstorms much? Because that's a major thing there. That's how things get buried there. And those
Right.
sandstorms, I mean, they can come all the way over to us, those
Because, like, if you think
sandstorms.
about it, they you know, when they discovered, the Sphinx, they just had the head, right?
Right,
And then
sand.
oh, and in my lifetime, they found legs. You know, there's a
Well, and now
body.
we have
They
all
found a
that
body.
equipment that can go over, like you can put a drone
Oh,
in the
those
middle of anywhere with infrared. I mean, with whatever
radars.
technology that can map out. They're finding huge
Oh,
cities in South Africa, I mean, South America, that, and even in Africa through the rainforest, finding
yeah.
civilizations that existed before just from that type of mapping. And
I
yeah,
know,
the
it's
forest does
amazing.
grow, but
Yeah,
again,
that's what
something catastrophic probably happened to make those people move away.
and I heard the theory on that. I you know I don't
Theory.
you can see well, here's the theory is that,
Here's the theory.
what is it, the Incas, I think, at the time? Mayans, the Incas,
Mayans, yeah.
and probably the Mayans,
The
that
Mayans that disappeared, that they
yeah,
find no trace
well,
of,
they
yes.
said that they had because of the radar, they're using that radar, the LODAR or whatever it's called. They're flying over, they're finding that, there's not just a few of these, um temples or pyramids, whatever you want to call them. Okay. Cause like they've got, Tulum, Chichen Itza, and those that have, are exposed and that type of thing. But there's a bunch, like you said, that are buried in the jungle and they've been able to find, and there's quite the network. And as they're starting to find some of those and unearth some of those, or defoliage them.
Right,
As the case
right.
may be, they're finding that there's, like, roads. They're finding that there were
Yes,
roads
yes,
that
yes.
connected them. So they're saying in order to have had this stuff and to have these roads and people to live, they had to cut back the rainforest quite a bit. And in doing and they were dependent on their water source from the aquifers there,
Right.
okay? Well, when they cut away and we know that now, when you get rid of the rainforest or
Or
you
the
I was
Everglades.
just gonna say that. See, you read my mind on that one. Or the Everglades, when you disrupt that natural force that takes care of the water source, you deplete it. And so they're saying that they had gotten so big and had deforested the area that they've been able to go into those aquifers, there's sinkholes, so they call them
Right,
sinkholes.
right,
They
right,
they go into those and they can see there's evidence where the water level went way low, super low, because they can see where people had gone in and left sacrifices. And the only way they would have left those sacrifices is if there wasn't any water in there. So they're
right,
thinking they deforested it
right.
to the point, did deforestation or whatever the word is, to the point that they disrupted their water source and they had to move on or they died because there was no water.
You know why? This is why we need to study history in the true facts all throughout the ages, including this age, is because what do they say? If you don't learn from history, you're destined to repeat it. And look what we're doing.
Right? So, yeah, so now that the rainforest grew back in, which you can see grew back in with a vengeance,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
our aquifers are all full again.
Life, man, finds a way. When you see the little crack in the sidewalk and then the next week you walk by and there's a flower popping out, you're not stopping Mother Nature with your man-made concrete.
It's funny you bring that up because I love those little moments, those little "Hi, I'm here" moments of spirit, right? And I remember one day I was walking into Panera and they have that outside patio area, right? And as I was walking in, I noticed a little plant growing out, where the cement hit the building. There was a little plant growing up. It was a tomato plant. Somebody's ate
Sandwich.
a sandwich with a tomato.
Oh
The
my
little seed
God.
fell out of the sandwich onto the pavement, washed into that little crevice, and there was a little tomato plant growing.
I love that.
Isn't
Tomato
it?
is known as the action food, and boy, that's some action. That's amazing. I
Isn't
did
it?
you transplant it or did you
I
leave it where it
didn't. I was afraid if I tried to pull it out, I would, it would
oh, yeah.
'cause it was
Take
pretty
away its
it was wedged
take
into the concrete pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah, it was ready to take over.
So, yeah, so that yeah, yeah, all that.
That's fun. And by the way, folks, we're not advertising Panera, but do love their Asiago cheese bread.
They their Asiago bagels, and I love their cinnamon, what's it? Cinnamon crunch bagel.
Oh, I've never had that.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, you haven't
oh,
had their cinnamon crunch bagel?
I
Oh,
have not. I have not. yet.
You have to get your little butt on over there and get it, because I'll tell you what, it is okay, so you take a regular bagel, just it's not a flavored I don't think it's a flavored bagel.
Maybe we need to, like, have another little field trip.
It's got a cinnamon sugar top on it. It's like a
Ooh.
quarter-inch thick, and it's just baked onto it. It's a
Oh, maybe we should do our Funny Friday live eating cinnamon
oh,
bagels from Panera.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't go there as often because, as Misty would put it, it's gotten quite pricey, and
Oh, has
sometimes
it? I haven't been there in quite a while
yeah,
myself
the
either.
bagels are still reasonable, but their meals have gotten pricey, and their
Oh,
service and I don't care which Panera you go to, their service is hit or miss.
oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I've been to the one, I guess it's near 75 and Immokalee. Um, they're like right on that little road where the
It's
Target and everything
yeah,
is.
it's where we
They've always been really nice there.
they're nice. Oh, they're nice. That don't get me wrong, they're nice, and their menus are great. It's the service part of it. The food quality, I guess. We used to do that's where we used to have our crochet group.
Right, you
We
were
would meet there
saying.
every Monday, and we used to laugh about we would put in our order, and we would all look to see what we were gonna end up with because
Oh, okay,
there's no
okay. We did
consistency.
have that for pickup one
You
time.
never yeah, never do Panera through drive-through or pick up without investigating your food first.
Okay. Okay. Word to the wise, people.
I swear to God. I mean, good food, it's a little on the pricey side, but you have to check your stuff, and that's pretty much across the board. I've eaten from Michigan to Florida, different Paneras, I've done some time in Orlando, because of Misty's hospitalizations, and, even that that one was probably the best as far as reliability, but still they could be a little questionable as to, what you're gonna end up with. Will I have my bagel?
Yeah.
It's like, I want a cinnamon crust bagel and an Asiago bagel. Do you want those sliced? Yes on the Asiago, no on the crunch.
Oh, you
Because I don't
don't get
want
your
because I
crunch?
don't wanna lose the crunch. If you let them cut it, that crunch will fall off.
Oh, and then they don't give it to you.
No, they don't give you the crunch.
I would demand it. Where is my crunch? It is missing. Somebody back there ate my crunch. It's
So
that guy with sugar right there on the side of his mouth.
so sometimes it'll be sometimes they're sliced, sometimes they're not sliced. If sometimes they're sliced where they take off just the top and
No, say
and
it's
not
not
down the middle.
so.
So actually, in all reality, just don't let them slice it.
Okay.
Just don't let 'em just get your bagels, take them home. Count your bagels before you leave.
I'm gonna take your advice because I'm gonna learn from your history.
I know, and I would and I know there's people gonna go, "But Gwen, you should practice what you preach." You went in with that anticipation. It's like, no, I always walked in and said, "This is the day that my food will be perfect. This is the day my food will be perfect. This is the time." And then I'd sit down and it's like, "Wait a minute. Why does this thing got avocado? This is not my salad." And they get rid of the best sandwiches too. Like, they used to have a steak and cheese sandwich, and then they
Okay.
had a steak salad that were amazing, and they got rid of them. And then they came
Oh,
out with these bowls
oh, yes.
back right before COVID, they came out with bowls, and at first I was kinda like, but one of the girls in the group got one, and she's like, this is amazing. These things are great." So then, we were like, So we were doing those. I went there the last time and I don't think they have them or they changed them because the one that I really, really like, they don't have anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. They keeping it fresh, I guess, but
I don't know.
I don't know because I really I haven't been there in quite a while. I used to stop when I was traveling a little bit more and just I like their coffee.
Okay. Yep.
There are other
Yeah.
places I was talking to my daughter, and it was like somebody wanted me to go to, and I'm gonna say the name wrong. It's not Scrambles, it's Skillets. I like their food. I hate their coffee.
Oh,
Their co
is it the burnt coffee? You know,
It
I
is the
know
burnt,
people call
watered
it
down coffee.
I know
It's
people like to call it dark coffee. Call it what it is. It's burnt
oh,
coffee.
no, no, it's not
Dark
even
coffee is burnt
it's almost
coffee.
like I feel like they made the coffee grinds and they drank that coffee and then they poured water over the coffee grinds and served them to the customers. That's what it tastes like
That's
to me.
my father-in-law. My step yeah, no, my father-in-law. My because I have 2 sets of in-laws, right? And, my father-in-law, he that's what he does. He'll put, like, 1 more scoop of fresh coffee on the old grounds from the day before and run them again.
No. That is sacrilegious. You saw me shudder.
Now my grandma would do hers where she would make in the old on the stove percolator. She would
Right,
make her pot, take out the grounds, you know, because it had the little ground basket. She'd take
right.
that out, and that little booger sat on the stove all day long.
Ooh,
It was
on
like
warm? Oh, so
yeah,
by the afternoon, it was like liquid, not
it was
liquid,
like
almost like
tar.
solid,
It
like
was like tar.
solid caffeine.
Yeah, right. It was like tar. You had to
Tar. Yes, there
you
you
would
go.
fill the cup half full and add water.
Oh, see, there was a little delay, but tar was the word I was looking for.
Yep, tar.
Why add water? Just that's like Cuban coffee then. You just take a shot of that, you are good to go. I've been loving being over here in Miami, man. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
I bet,
my
yeah.
in-law, she'll bring over Cuban coffee and she makes bread. Oh my gosh, so delicious. A little of this, a little of that. I'm like, do I have to go home and take care of myself now?
Right. Shoot, why am I not in Miami?
I know. We could be having tar together.
I could have babysat with you there. We could have
See?
broadcast together.
Right?
Could have drank
I've
our
got my
coffee.
little my kitty sitting will be over tomorrow. I will be sad to go. She's such a little imp. Oh my goodness.
I
Absolutely
saw the
loved it.
picture you posted of her looking out the window. I that was the first time I saw her back. I
Oh,
didn't
isn't it
realize that
interesting?
her back was so colorful.
Right? Right? She really is a beautiful little lady. She is becoming a little lady this week for the very first time. So that was an interesting evening last night. Lots of, but so cuddly. Poor thing. I told her I remembered my initial and how confusing it was. I talked to her the whole time because my mom didn't explain anything. She handed me a pamphlet. So,
Sex ed for the cat. Well, our little guy, I don't know where he's at right now. He
it's
likes
a
to
lot. I
he's like
told her it's a
over
lot to go through. It doesn't feel
it is.
good. It's
Are they gonna get her how
uncomfortable.
come they didn't get her fixed?
It's confusing. They like to have it right after the first heat.
Yeah, they're kinda back and forth on that. They're
So,
back, you know,
well,
some say
this
yes,
just
some say
turns
no.
out that it's the perfect timing. So,
That's
I
good.
mean, and that's what they told us with all of our dogs. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and they've got a wonderful vet.
Yeah,
She's
you
just
just gotta make
really,
sure that when they go into that first heat, you grab them.
yes, I'm being extra careful with the
I've
door. We have a
ended up
little gate. Yeah, yeah.
Because I had a female dog that, you know, she was a really good dog, and when she went in the vet, it said the same thing, "Wait until the first heat." Well, she went into heat, I didn't realize it, she went into heat, and she bolted.
Oh,
She was gone for, like, days, and she came back, the little booger was all knocked up, teenage pregnancy in the house.
oh.
And not from 1, 2. She had these 13 puppies, 13. 3 of them died during childbirth.
Oh,
3 I'm laughing at the childbirth thing. But yeah, oh, it was hard. It was a really hard labor, really hard. She had the first, like, 6 or 7, but then she was struggling and having a real hard time, so I took her to the vet. And the vet's like,
oh,
"Yeah," he goes, "You know what?" 'Cause she had been doing it all day long. She was getting really weak, and I got scared, so I
oh,
had a friend help me get her into the vet, and the vet said, he's like, "Yeah, she would have really had a problem with these." And it turned out the last 3, which were wedged up way up high, those were the ones that were
oh,
stillborn.
oh, I'm
Stillborn,
sorry.
and then, but the rest of them were, so we ended up with 10 puppies, okay?
Wow.
And the 10 5 were, like, the color of my other dog, which was a golden retriever, and the other 5 were black, and I was like so I asked the vet, I go, "What's going on here?" Or they not black, chocolate brown, like the actual
Like a
color.
lab, maybe, like
No,
a
nope,
no?
it was the most crazy brown I'd ever seen. It was like a brown crayon.
Huh.
It was just a slightly different brown tone than a brown lab.
Maybe a Dosh hound.
She was a boxer something mix, right? So she was a fairly decent sized dog. And the vet said she got knocked up by 2 separate dogs. I didn't know that that was a thing, but she did. One was the golden and one was whoever she was out
Oh,
running with for a week.
oh.
So, yeah, keep an eye on your kitten
Okay, I will absolutely.
because
I've
the
been
males are
cautious. I lock the door. You can't come in or out of the apartment without unlocking the door. So it's very deliberate, and they got a little gate that goes across, and
are the males
so
hanging around?
I we haven't seen any yet because their yard is fenced, but
That won't
we're
stop.
keeping the windows closed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, keep that girl under lock and key.
She's such a sweet thing. Oh my gosh, my heart. I'm like, it was just the perfect timing to come and do this after Tarzan passing, because
Yeah, yeah.
ah,
Our little guy here's an over groomer,
oh,
and
you were telling me that.
yeah, he kinda comes and goes with it, and he had done really well, and all his fur had grown in, and he was looking really good, and then all of a sudden, he started his over grooming thing, and he starts with the 2 lowest nipples and just keeps licking them and licking them till they're just red and raw, and then, but this t and so long story short, we, got the little onesies we saw on YouTube. Misty had seen on YouTube and Reddit where people were doing onesies. You turn the onesie backwards, cut a hole in like where the right above the snaps.
Mhm.
That would be the head part.
Right.
And then the head part would be where they can go potty. So
Oh,
that's because cats have a hard time with those cones and stuff. And that's what we
right.
were having a problem with him.
So like a toddler onesie or a baby onesie?
Well, that's been the thing. We had okay. He's a big boy. Okay, so these
Okay.
people are showing their animals, and their animals are obviously smaller. So we did the onesie. Okay.
Okay.
Problem we're
Right.
having with him is he's a big boy. So
Right.
these are, I think, a 1 year already, and there's yeah, 12 months, and it still doesn't fit him.
How many pounds is he?
16.
Oh, okay.
And the
He's double because I think Gigi is 8 pounds.
Yeah, and onesies, they don't go by weight, and they don't
Right.
really they say, "How tall is your child?" It's like, "How tall?"
Fingers so I can measure you.
I never understood that even when Misty was a baby. I was like, "Why do you wanna know how ta just tell me the length, and I'll tell you how long her body is," you know?
Right, right.
But anyway, so this is a 12-month one,
And
and
is it too
it's
small?
still not long enough, and here's the thing too, if you can see, it's got one of these kinda top thingies, so
Okay.
that do you see? I
Yes,
guess it's
yes.
so that they don't strangle in it or whatever. So that doesn't keep it on him either, because that just pulls, it makes a big hole he can pull out of. So what I did is I stitched those overlapping parts. I put little tacks there so they don't open up, and it
Right.
makes a smaller hole. And until we can figure out how to get something long enough, I just, because this last time he was getting really bad. He started licking like right here and had made it start bleeding. And it's like, he's like 13 years old. So he's just an old crotchety man. So what I did is I tacked those two spots and just put it on regular. And so he's walking around with this little muscle man shirt.
Oh,
We can't snap it, we can't close it down, so he can still get to the 2 bottom nipples, but at least the other 4 he's been licking on in his armpit, he can't get to. So we're gonna let those all heal up, and then we'll figure out what to do for the bottom half of them. But, yeah, so that's an alternative if you ever need, and they do get the kitten fixed,
right.
and then
That would be a
you
good
have
idea. Yeah.
put 'em in a
Yeah.
onesie.
A onesie. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, Misty said, "Oh, look at this person posted for theirs." And it was the pajama, the long sleeve type and the long john type.
Right.
They had their cat in a long john suit
Oh,
for the same reason, but it looked so cute because it had the long sleeves and the long
oh.
legs.
I'm gonna research that. But hey, I gotta run.
Oh, gosh, 2 already. Hey, have a great one, my friend. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see
Okay.
you next week, my friend.
Cinnamon crunch. It's on my list. I'll call you when I get home.
I think I'm gonna make a run up and get some myself.
Post a picture. Okay. Love
Love
ya.
you. Bye.
Bye.